Hello Pisces, this is Julie with Deep Soul Counsel. And as always, I am humbled and honored and grateful to be here to deliver your reading. This is for March of 2017. Before I get started, I do want to mention a few things, and then the rest of it I'll save until the end of the reading because there's a lot of exciting things going on. But for my birthday, I launched a promotion, and it's how to thank you guys and give back to you. You have been support through this entire the transition between California Psychics and making this this channel grow in a way that I could actually make a living from it, from home. So in order to thank you for my birthday, I gifted you this promotion. And what it is it's 30-minute reading, either on Skype, phone, or in person for $25. Or you can have a 60-minute reading, Skype, phone, or in person for $45. All right, and then the other promotions and the other giveaways and things we'll talk about at the end of the video. So this is going to be an intuitive oracle reading. I feel like your message for this month was going to manifest better through these cards, and that's why I was led to use these cards versus the tarot cards. All right, so just throwing that out there. Just give me a few seconds. Pisces, I want to go ahead and tell you what I feel first, and then do the reading, because I feel like it's always interesting when, this happened just a second ago with a client of mine, where I felt something first, and then it came up in the reading, and I could feel how it was reaffirming to her. All right, especially because, we hear things, but we're like, okay, I hope it's true, but who knows? But I feel like when they show up multiple times in multiple decks, it really brings like a sense of authenticity to it, okay? So, Pisces, right away, I feel like you feel like there's a mountain between you and what you want, or a mountain between you and where you want to go, right? And I feel like because you guys are so badass that you're actually contemplating climbing that mountain, but you're being told not to do that. Like, that's too much work to maneuver around the river. And that's crazy because I got the same vision in the last reading as well. I feel like forward movement is coming, but there's just like a halt right now, or there's just a stop right now, right? And it's just a temporary roadblock. Like, it's not going to last. And for your guys' sign in particular, I feel like it's to make you stop and think about where you're placing your attention, because I feel like a lot of you guys are, there's some annoying energy in your life, whether that's a partner or a boss or a sister or a cousin or whatever it is. I feel like that annoying energy could be the reason why you are facing the mountain. And you have to not pay attention to that energy, not pay attention to that person, not pay attention to that, because, and I know that some of you guys have a really deep connection to whatever it is that's annoying you, like this immature energy, right? But I also feel like some of you do, some of you don't. But I also feel like you're focusing too much on, like, placing too much focus on them and not enough on you. And so it's kind of halted your progress. So I feel like this mountain is like making you stop to evaluate what you really want to do and who you really want to do it with. And, maybe even consider branching off from that energy. Because I just feel like there's just this immature energy that demands your attention in somehow, some way. All right, it could be slowing you down. Let's go ahead and get into your reading. So I'm asking the universe to bring forth the perfect oracle message for March of 2017 for Pisces. What do they most need to know this month? What do you most need them to know? What do you want me to tell them? What is most important? The mountain. That's why, no matter what, I really have started channeling before I start the card readings, because for so long I was a no tools reader. And I feel like, oh my goodness, I'm excited. Okay, so Your first card was the Mountain. Stuck in the mud. And I'll tell you what these mean. They're not negative. Because remember, they piece together a story. Ride the wave. Deep freeze. Wishing well. And metamorphosis upside down. All right, we're going to look at overall guidance concerning this reading. And I will go back and bring everything together in 1 second. I ask you to bring forth the perfect keeper of light for the perfect message for Pisces. What is it that they need to know? What message do you have for them? Dharma unfolding. That's good. And I will show you guys these in 1 second. So, what does Pisces most need to work on? Friendship. Okay, so let's look at this for a second. We're going to pull the bottom one too. Okay, now it makes sense. All right, so let's get into your first reading. The Mountain card, that's that mountain that I talked about. You know that you're not supposed to climb it because the number 6 is a symbol of harmony. All right, so you're supposed to find a way around the mountain to keep yourself busy, I guess, but no matter what, that mountain is going to shrink, all right? And you're not to climb it. And I also feel like it's okay, and I feel like even if you guys say, okay, Julie, I'm not going to climb it, I'm going to go around it like the river, you still may be caught up in the mud, stuck, I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. Now, this turns into a positive reading, okay? But at the beginning of March, it feels like I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. I don't climb, I don't exert myself from climbing the mountain, so I decided to go around it with the river, and then I get stuck in the mud. What am I doing wrong? Well, your next card is Ride the Wave. Ride the wave. And it means this, it's going to happen. It's temporary, right? Ride it. Ride it out. There's nothing that you can do about it. This is a temporary halt. This is a temporary pause for you. This is a temporary time that you need to reevaluate your priorities and let go of what is no longer serving you. Ride the wave of this, all right? This was meant to slow you down. It was. Because there's some thinking you need to do, all right? This was also meant to slow you down because there's some thinking that you need to do. But ride the wave is being happy with whatever comes and just moving forward, right? I feel like you guys have to find the best in your situation because you know what you don't want. And everybody knows what they don't want. But you have to start focusing on what you do want and less on what you don't want, all right? So be like the dolphin that can find happiness in any environment and ride this out. Ride that mountain out. Ride that elephant out. It's not going to be long. You're looking at by March 15th. Seeing some change, all right? Seeing some change. Now, what I'm being asked to remind you of, right? This is what I need to remind you of. So that's what's going to happen. You're going to feel like you're stuck, like the mountain is blocking you. You're going to feel like you try to take a different way and you got stuck again. And then, but you're going to ride it out and you're going to be fine, right? You're going to be fine. This card is, the universe is wanting to remind you, deep freeze. That lion looks dead, but it's not. It may be cold, maybe hungry, and maybe very uncomfortable, maybe freezing, but it's not dead, all right? And that lion, no matter how cold or hungry it gets, it's still a lion. And inside of that lion is still lion power, right? No matter what the climate throws at that lion, it's not going to change the fact that it's a lion. Now, these things that are going on are out of your doing, out of your making, right? I feel like they are part of your journey, part of the stop, to force you to stop, okay? And I feel like you need to know that everybody falls victim to circumstance. Everybody falls victim to climate change. Everybody falls victim to the weather. That lion cannot change the weather, all right? And it has its paw in the water, just waiting in agony for, the time to warm up so it could feel like a lion again. So listen to me, Pisces. You may not feel like a lion. You may not feel that powerful. You may not feel that, that creative, or you may not feel like you're moving anywhere, but you are this lion. And no matter what is happening on the outside, you are still a lion on the inside. And it's not going to take away from your strength. It's not going to take away from your power. Things are being done on purpose to slow you down because you need to think about some things, all right? You need to think about some things. I want to talk about this one, ride the wave again, because it's almost like you're riding the wave, past the mountain, getting stuck in the mud. But I feel like there's going to be some hope of some sort that brings you over, all right? Like that brings you over that mud, And I feel like it's going to have a large part of you finding happiness, even when it's hard to find happiness. Like this lion. It's probably really hard for this lion to find happiness. All right? And I feel like you guys forget how powerful you are just because you've been stuck in the snow for a while. Because you've been stuck in stagnation, or because, this didn't go well or that didn't go well. You guys feel like you're less powerful, like you're less worthy. But no matter what happens on the outside, it doesn't change the power that you possess on the inside. All right? Wishing well. So we move from that frozen pond to the wishing well. Now, I feel like you're no longer in stagnation towards the middle of March. But what I'm getting is you have to change the way you think about things for those wishes to come true. Do you understand? There's got to be some sort of change. There's got to be some sort of movement. I do see forward movement for you. I really do. I really, really do. Especially with the Ride the Wave card. And, the guidance of the lion being there, but still being a very mighty lion, even though he's subjected to and victim of the climate, right? Something that is out of his control. But with this card next to it, and you have Metamorphosis upside down, you have to really think about your decisions and how they're affecting you. Because I feel like you guys are placing a lot of attention on other people when that attention needs to be focused on you, or you're trying to rescue other people when you need to be your own rescue, because all your wishes are sitting there. They're sitting there, right? They're sitting there, but they cannot manifest themselves until you change the way you're looking at them or the way you're expecting to receive. You have to know, you guys are some damn good manifestors. You really are. You are some of the most powerful manifestors in the zodiac. But so you have all these things in vibrational escrow just waiting to manifest, but you have to rise to receive it. They're not going to lower to you. You have to rise to receive it, right? And you haven't rose to receive it yet, or else you'd have it. You're not on that level yet, or you'd have it. So I feel like you guys accepting things the way they are, you guys accepting that you can't change anybody. You didn't come here to change anybody, right? I feel like too, you can love people from a distance, all right? But once you know that they're no longer vibrating or enhancing your life or bringing joy to you anymore, you don't want to stay around them just because you think they need your help or just because they make you feel good about yourself. You know what I mean? I feel like it's if I can help this person, then I feel better about me. It's not about that. They're distracting you, and they're taking your time away from you working on you. Do you see what I'm saying? I feel like there's this movement, a movement, right? that wants to manifest itself, but it can't do that because you're exhausted from your attention being on so many other places that when the opportunity arises, it's almost like you're too tired to observe it or recognize it. All right. So remember that you are on a path. Take one step at a time to happiness. One step at a time. One step at a time. So, don't worry about that freeze. Don't worry about that pause. One step at a time. You guys are pausing and freezing because you were trying to move too fast in the first place. You guys are trying to do too much at once. Some of you guys are really trying to do too much at once. And I feel like you guys are always like, now don't get mad at me, right? Because this is just what I'm getting. But I feel like you guys need to be like, constantly stimulated by somebody else or by somebody else's conversation. And it's really not time for that. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this girl, she's in the wishing well by herself. He is in the deep freeze by himself. Now, yes, there was 2 dolphins in Ride the Wave, but I feel like that was you connecting with your higher self to get you out of the mud. Because that's what's going to happen. I mean, I am seeing movement in March, in late March, but you really have to change the way you're looking at stuff. You really do. If you continue to look at it the way you've always looked at it, then nothing's going to change. If you don't change, nothing else is going to change. That's just science. It's just how it is, right? Cause and effect. So remember that you are on a path. Take one step at a time. Dharma unfolding. Dharma is like your spiritual path. What you're here to do. What you're here to give, right? And I feel like you guys have a sense of what your purpose is, but you're jumping around to so many things that you confuse yourself and then you don't even know what your purpose is anymore. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's why the pauses are happening. That's why you're stuck in the mud. But overall, this is a really good reading because you're reminded of how powerful you are in that lion. Like, I'm going to go back to this just for a second because could you imagine that kind of power feeling helpless? But it can't last forever. And this one especially, it was right underneath the mountain card. It can't last forever. Feeling powerless. It can't last forever. And it's going to thaw out and spring is going to come and that lion is going to look into the reflection of that lake. And what used to be, like agony, just sitting there and waiting, he reminds himself that he's a lion. He gets up and he looks in the lake and he reminds himself who he is. It's time for you to get up, Pisces, and remind yourself who you are. Because I think some of you have forgotten and other people may have forgotten too. And it's time for them to remember. All right. Let's look at these 2 cards. You have friendship and self-esteem. So I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. And self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. So once again, that's talking about you claiming who you really are, because who you really are has a lot to offer. Who you really are is extremely abundant and extremely, extremely helpful and extremely giving and creative. And when you're not in harmony with your authentic self, it's going to hurt. It's going to feel like shit. It's going to feel like depression. It's going to feel like you're going to feel bad. Why? Because you're not in harmony with who you are. And that feeling of bad, that feeling of depression, that feeling of sadness is your indicator that you're off track. How else would you know if you were off track if you didn't have emotions to guide you? You have to step out and look at emotions for what they are. They're in the moment temporary feedback. All right? So I feel like for these 2 cards, I feel like a few things going on. And this is just what I'm getting, okay? Know that that friends are in your life for a reason, all right? But also know that there's sometimes that you outgrow friends, and that's okay. I also feel like just because somebody is your friend doesn't mean you have to do what doesn't feel natural to you just to keep their friendship, right? Or just because someone is your friend doesn't mean that you have to give them free things from your business. Or just because somebody, like, there should be no limitations or no, like, restrictions on a friendship. If your friendship is restricted or if there's rules in any way, then it's probably something that you don't need to be with. Now, I feel like you guys have the potential, like, I feel like you guys might be working on a project. And I feel like you have the ability to do this, so you don't have to have anybody with you. You know what I mean? Like, you already possess the gifts. Your living up to this point has already gifted you the wisdom. So you don't have to depend on anybody. And I feel like doing this project with other people could even contaminate your beautiful idea, all right? Because all it takes is them to put one little negative seed in your head about it not being this or it not being that, and it's over with. You guys will sit and linger on that all month, and that's not what, that's not what's supposed to happen. So basically, the universe is telling you to have self-esteem in your gifts because you're very, very gifted. You're very gifted. And I feel like that's why all this halt and stop and separation is happening, because it gives you time to connect with your higher self, to get out of that mess, all right? And then also it gives you time to receive this message that no matter how frozen or hungry or cold or uncomfortable you are, at the heart of who you are God source power. And there's some things that you can't control, and that's life. That's life. People say, well, that's arbitrary. And I tell them, when you have your own planet, you can make whatever rules you wish. But right now we're on this planet, and this is how it goes. Okay? And that water that reminds you who you are is going to help you manifest your desires from this wishing well. But it's going to take some metamorphosis. You are going to have to change, period. You're going to have to change. And without change, you can't grow. And I know you guys don't like change. But you have to, Pisces. You have to, because your purpose depends on it. And you're going to reach your soul purpose no matter what. But man, don't do it the hard way all the time. Like, I feel like you guys are always going about it the hard way when there's so many easy ways. But you guys always go about it the hard way. And I feel like, learn tactics, or it's almost like open up your idea that there are many ways. And going the hard way doesn't make you the most humble. Going the hard way doesn't make you the most blessed. I know that people, we grow up with those kind of ideas, like, the blessed are the poor. And, and there is divineness in suffering, but that's not true. That's not true, okay? You don't have to take the long way all the time. You're smarter than that. You're smarter than that, all right? Wow, what a reading. Okay, Pisces, so let's talk about those other promotions. All right, so my website is below, www.deepsoulcouncil.com. Like I mentioned, I have psychic readings, and this is what I do, right? During the psychic reading, I have you start by saying your name 3 times, and I tell you what I feel first. I want to make that connection. I ask you where you want to go. I'm off and on. Like, sometimes I don't need the cards, but I will use the cards because I feel like it reaffirms what I say first, and then they see it brought in the cards, and they are, it's almost like they build this trust with me. So I feel like what I do is I have a few sets of cards, and I incorporate those into the psychic readings, all right? So those, like I said, 30 minutes for $25, that is in-person, phone, or Skype, or an hour for $45, and that is in-person, phone, or Skype. Send me an email. My email address is below if you are interested in that. Also, Psychic Development 101 starts on the 1st and 15th of every month, and it is only $27 now. It comes with a 21-minute reading, okay, with me, like not a reading, but like, and it's not an upsell call. It's let's talk about your experience. I know this was extremely life-changing for you kind of call. Everybody gets results. I teach you how to see through the eyes of your higher self, and in front of you manifests who you truly are, like who you are behind the eyes. You actually see it. I'm not convincing you. It's not a meditation. You actually see it, all right? And everybody gets results because we all come from the same place. And, those who aren't ready aren't going to attract this video into their life. Or I've had people attract, buy the course and they never did the videos. Why? Because they just weren't ready. And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay when people aren't ready. All right? So I wanted to mention that. There's other services over on my website. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can go do that by yourself. But dream interpretation by email, I'm doing that because I feel like it's really important. Dreams, there's a dream language, like an actual language, just like English, Spanish, whatever else, But instead of words, it uses pictures and symbols. So for instance, if you tell me the dream you had last night, I can tell you exactly what you did the night before to cause that dream. And you're like, holy cow, how'd you know what I did the night before? I could tell by your dream. All right, so what happens is it's like the soul is reflecting to us a non-judgmental, non-biased recollection of our day or our day before. Okay, so I feel like if you've had the same dream over and over and over, or if you have a dream that you would like interpreted, that is only $30, and you can email me and put that, send it in the email, like put it on the subject line. Also, our newsletter is getting so popular, and I would really like you guys to be part of it. And until I'm working on hiring somebody to help me, because I'm not tech savvy at all. If you guys haven't noticed, I still don't even know how to edit the videos. But I want to you can send your email and your first and last name, and I will subscribe you to our newsletter. So you'll be on the email list every Sunday. Usually it's Monday morning, but I send out the weekly newsletter, and that contains like all the information. It also contains like energy for the week and drawings or contests that we're having, which reminds me of the next thing. All right. If you go to Facebook, the link is below. You will see, or Instagram, you will see a picture of this Buddha statue, these cards, and a 21 Deep Soul Council credit.